Good afternoon, everybody. This is Todd Mitchell. For today's free video, we're looking at the Australian dollar, US dollar. And this week I'm going to talk more about currencies because next week I've got a whole series of videos that I'm producing for everybody. So I'm going to start talking about the Forex futures and Forex currency pairs, okay? So this market, I think, is actually setting up for a potential buy. If you take a look at this, even though the short-term trend is down right now, we started that red in here as the bars turned from green to red right in here, and we had a nice sell signal in here. We've made a pretty nice move. Obviously, this trend is down, but what I'm seeing here is the market is starting to change. It's starting to consolidate. It's starting to either do one of two things. Either resting before it catches its breath, and to catch its breath so it moves lower, or a movement up, an explosion to the upside. And I think what we need to see, though, before thinking it's going to move higher, is we need to see a penetration up through these highs that I'm marking off, okay? So there's a potential setup for a long, and again, I would call this a counter trend trade, right? A counter trend trade, meaning against the trend is down. So I'd be looking for a move up. Now, this is just a trade setup. There's a big difference between a trade setup and a trigger to get long, okay? So what I would need to see is a penetration up through these highs. So I would need to see a penetration up through 88.35 to get long. So I would need to start clearing up through these highs, 88.25, 88.33, 88.25, 88.31. So 88.35 would give me a signal to go long the Australian US dollar, okay? I'm not doing anything more to the short side at all. This was already a good trade to the downside. I'm just looking for a potential trade to the upside. So if we consolidate more in here, right, remember, this is a daily chart, okay? I like to use a 240-minute and a daily chart, but this is a daily chart. We've had one spike, a couple aberrations up through. Now we've got this nice rectangle in here. Market right down in here, as you can see, was not it right here on the 13th. Could not take out the lowest low made on the 3rd. And now we're even starting to consolidate even more in here. So again, 88.35 to the upside would, I think, be a good trade. You would not have to use a big stop on something like this if you were to get long either tonight or tomorrow. And then the 88.35, I would place the stop below the 87.17, which is this low. It would not go below the lowest low by any means. I would have a relatively tight stop, and I would move that stop up as quick as possible too. I would want to see where it closes on that particular bar as well. Let's move to a couple. All right, let me talk about the Euro US dollar. If you recall, last week, the US dollar Japanese yen rather, last week we had a trade right in here, right above this high at 106.45. Look at where the market's at now. Travel up to 108 and change, 400 and some odd pips. Now, you know, run up to here, and then I took my stop up a little too tight, and I got knocked out with a break even. And look at that move. I just want to show that to you, that you know what, if you're trading off the daily or the 240-minute chart, which is a 4-hour chart, you just have to give it room to breathe. You can't move your stops up too tight. Yes, trade management is extremely important, but you want to give the market enough room to breathe. And typically when I get a trade like this, which is a classic trade setup, right? The market breaks up through this tight little inside bar, back at the 50 exponential. Nice trade setup. When you get a trade like that, you've got to leave your stop where it was initially, which was below the low of the inside, or you could have gone below the low of the prior bar to that inside, okay? So look at that, 107.63 right now, 107.76, and one is high is 108.34, almost 400 pips in your favor, which on a standard contract is $4,000 on this move up. So have a great evening. I'll be back with you tomorrow. Bye for